What is up, guys? It's Chase Oliver, 6th Day here. It's July 27, 2012. Time to talk about Impact Wrestling for this week. Impact Wrestling this week kicked off in a weird fashion. It had Kenny King brawling with Zema Ion and Austin Aries brawling with Robert Roode. Aries and King got the upper hand in this brawl, and this brawl kind of felt weird that it kicked it off the show. I mean, yeah, I know these guys hate each other, but it just kind of felt awkward. There's like no reasoning behind it. But it does show some animosity between the, four men, so I guess it works out. Now, when it comes down to the tag team match itself, I really did like, how they announced this match last week, and we got it this week, and there was a lot of good build-up on the show last week to make you really want to, sit down and check this match out. That's a good thing, and that's what I feel like sometimes WWE is missing a little bit, is that they never really announce, oh, what's going to happen on Monday Night Raw, like, on Raw episodes. They just kind of throw shit in the water and say, here it is. It's like, I would love it more if, we got to know what we're going to be witnessing next week instead of just being in the dark. And what I like about TNA as of late, especially with their live format, how they're giving us matches, and most of these matches are well built from last week's show, and they head over to next week's show. That is a good plus. And this tag team match, I think Barry did benefit from, the Kenny King and Zema Ion match last week that was being built up pretty well through the promo segments with Austin Aries and Kenny King last week, and then how Robert Roode got involved and how Aries got involved last week, and bam, we get this tag team match. The tag team match was a very good match between all four men. I did enjoy this tag team matchup. It went pretty long. Aries looked pretty good. Kenny King was definitely the stud of this. And Robert Roode, he just kind of did whatever. I don't know what's up with Robert Roode as of late. I'm still a fan of his, but he's kind of went down a little bit sometimes in the in-ring work department. Just a little bit. He's still a really good character for TNA, really good heel character, but his character just kind of feels, I don't know, blah. So that's just my thought into it. Totally my thought into it, but, Zema Ion, whatever. But Kenny King gets the win over Zema Ion. Great decision there. It could probably set up Kenny King for a hardcore justice match, which I would really like to see between, him and Zema Ion. I think they could really do a good job. Next up, we had Bully Ray facing off against Robbie E. Okay. Bully Ray and Robbie E were pretty much, just kind of whatever. Like, Bully Ray, though, did put out a good promo segment, which I will kind of talk about more when we get into that, because I don't really like jumbling stuff. And it's kind of hard to read my notes without my glasses. Don't have contacts right now. But, when it comes down to Bully Ray versus Robbie, it was just like, whatever. Bully Ray won, right decision, because Bully Ray needs to win a match. And this was just awkward because they're both heels. So why are two heels going at it? I know it's a Bound for Glory series, but still. This would have better helped a Magnus than a Bully Ray. But then again, Bully Ray was low on points, so I can understand why TNA kind of did this. So then we get this in-ring segment, and it's Sting. Sting is pretty much talking about how, he wants to find the answers to Aces and Eights, and he's going to get them from one mouth, and that's James Storm's mouth. And so James Storm comes out, and, he says he has nothing to do with Aces and Eights. Kurt Angle attacked him backstage, and I didn't bitch and whine. I just went back into the ring. And so, it was a really good segment between these guys. I really did like it. And then Kurt Angle came out. He was like, oh, my name was mentioned, so I came out here. And then he just kind of was like, contradicting everything James Storm was saying, saying deep thoughts and saying, like, it's kind of true, Sting showed this footage to us, and I just feel like you're lying. And James Storm, he was trying his best, but he couldn't get it down. And then later on, Kurt Angle said something about a party, and then Sting got excited, and he's like, I'm going to be out there. And so this led to some segments, especially like the Bully Ray segment that I talked about, which I will get more into when I talk about the main event, which was obviously, Bobby Roode versus, not Bobby Roode, it's James Storm versus Kurt Angle. Now let's move on. We got a Fatal 4-Way Knockouts #1 contendership match featuring Tara taking on Gail Kim, Mickie James, and Madison Rayne. This Knockouts match, I will say, was pretty decent. It went a good amount of time. It was just kind of weird how it ended. So, like, Gail Kim and Mickie are out of the match at this point. And Winter was on commentary, and she did a really bad job, in my opinion. I just felt she was just so boring. Oh, it'll be good facing either one of them. Oh, you know, Tara's my friend, and it would be fun facing my teacher. Oh, you know, Mickey was my first defense, and she was so hard. Like, no passion. I mean, Miss Tessmacher is hot to look at, but she is just so dull. And so, when it came down to it, Tara got like a simple bridge pin. You know, it was like a simple bridge pin on Madison Ray. But the thing was, her back was down, like most bridge pins. And so, Earl Hebner counted 1, 2, 3, and all of a sudden, you know, Tara wins, but Madison Rain's music playing, and then Brooke Tessmacher, or Tess, whatever they want to call her, since Brooke Hogan's there, was like, oh, yay, like, so badly. And Madison Rain's music playing, and they said Madison won. And that made no sense to me. It was kind of stupid how they pulled this. And in all honesty, I'm not excited for a Madison Ray and Tessmacher match. I'm sure it might be good. I'm sure there might be some stipulations involved, but I'm just not that excited for it. There's nothing really to be excited about for this matchup. I mean, what happened to Winter? I know Winter's still on a TNA contract. Why can't Winter, you know, be in the Knockouts division? She hasn't been there for a while in TNA. And I was actually more interested in seeing a Tara versus Tessmacher feud anyways. But maybe it's better that they're probably going to hold that off for, I don't know, maybe Bound for Glory. That would be fine with me if they did that at Bound for Glory. So I would have no problem with that. No problem whatsoever. So it was announced that AJ Styles was going to Australia to, you know, do this fan expo type of thing. And AJ Styles pretty much tweeted on Twitter, AJ Styles.org, and Dixie was all proud of him. And then, you know, they're just talking about it, and it shows Daniels and Kazarian. And sometimes I wonder why in the fuck Daniels and Kazarian are even in a feud with AJ still. But I digress. And so this leads to a segment with Claire, which was absolutely hilarious. So Daniels and, you know, Kaz had all these presents lined up. And they were all like AJ Styles related. Toy belts, action figures of AJ Styles. They're like, Daddy, this will be your daddy. You can tell him that his dad has an action figure. You can play with him. It will be so much fun. And they were just laughing at each other. They were just laughing, having a good time. Kaz and Daniels and the wife. It was just a funny segment, and I kind of felt bad for AJ because like AJ's not there, and they're trying to hype up AJ as a good representative of the TNA organization, and in the character and the storyline, it's like, you know, AJ seems like a bad person, and so it's kind of a mixture of things. Dixie Carter's still not saying what her side of the story is, so we don't know what's up with AJ and Dixie. I'm more curious on what that's going to go down. I mean, is AJ just a pimp? I think he is. That's why he's the phenomenal one, AJ Styles. But anyways, the funniest part was when they brought out a baby. And this baby, like, it was a fake baby. It was like a toy baby. And it was dressed up in a little coat that, like, AJ wears and his little ring trucks. And then Claire was like, the baby, we're going to have it, AJ. Own up to it. So there's a lot more for this storyline to develop. I mean, I can understand why many people don't like it. But it's drama, and drama in wrestling is needed. Especially, I don't call a love triangle where a girl's obsessed with two guys a drama storyline. I consider that more of, that's not realistic. This is kind of realistic in a way about baby mama shit. And hopefully, maybe TNA does go through and a baby is born, whether they have a fake baby or something. That would be pretty interesting if they do something along those lines. So, hopefully the storyline can grow. Up next, Chavo Guerrero, as TNA bills him as the wrestling legend, comes out. And he wrestles Kid Cash. And I was like, damn, dude, this is bringing me back to like SmackDown of 2005. This was a pretty good match between these two. And then I was wondering to myself, God, Chavo would benefit so much more in the X Division. Like, if Chavo Guerrero was in that X Division, man. But I'm glad they're putting Chavo and Hernandez in the tag team division. Especially if you're going to have Styles and Daniels feud maybe at Bound for Glory again, and maybe, you know, in a one-on-one match. I would like the tag team titles off of Daniel, so the tag team titles can be defended at Bound for Glory. So, yeah, you know, I'm fine with Super Mex and Chavo, you know, teaming up. Very good match. Chavo wins. Moving on. Next up, Brooke Hogan gets some package, and we don't even know what's going on, and she just kind of walks away. And this pretty much led to like Joseph Park talking to Sting, and Joseph Park was being really weird. And next week on Impact, we get the Pope versus RVD, Kurt Angle versus AJ Styles, and in what I'm assuming is the main event, James Storm and Bully Ray again in a Bound for Glory series match. Now we go on to the main event. Now throughout the night, they were building up this main event because, James Storm last week in TNA was being accused that he was a part of Aces and Eights. Devon Dudley and Garrett Bishop talked about how they're going to be at ringside. Bully Ray in his promo segment said, "Oh, we're going to be at ringside." And Sting, he announced he was going to be at ringside. Bobby Roode said he will be at ringside. And then Austin Aries, when Bobby Roode was saying he was going to be at ringside, he said he was going to be at ringside. So James Storm and Kurt Angle happens. As for the match itself, it was kind of anticlimactic. It wasn't as good as I was expecting it to be. When you saw Kurt Angle and Bully Ray last week, that was a really good match. And then this match, I know these guys can do better. And it was okay at best. The one thing that I did not like about, everyone saying they want to come out to the ring. And it's like a double whammy. What I did like is that it showed TNA has a unity and talking about how they want to get rid of the major threats. What I don't like, it sometimes causes character controversy with the heels and the faces. Some people might be confused saying, why is Bully Ray out here trying to stop Aces and Eights? Wouldn't he like Aces and Eights? Well, they did attack him, so probably Bully Ray won't have liked them. But you get what I'm saying. It just kind of sometimes causes character controversy in a way where some fans might get confused on who are the actual heels and faces. But what I did like is how Aces and Eights did not come out tonight. So that way no one got confused. Everyone know who was the right characters. That's a good move. Because if you had Aces and Eights come out and Bully Ray was trying to help, like, let's say, James Storm from getting beaten up, that would just look awkward as hell. So I really did like Aces and Eights to not come out tonight. And so this led to, James Storm and Kurt Angle. The ending sequence was the best. And James Storm won after a last call super kick. And so after that, he calls out Aces and Eights. And said that the game's all here, let's go. And, a lot of fans were excited. But then afterwards, Aces and Eights did not come out. And then he started taunting him more. And then Bobby Roode got on the mic and he's like, "See, James? You didn't need him last week because you knew you would beat Kurt Angle. That's why you didn't call me here last week, which means you're still the leader of Aces and Eights. I proved it. I proved it." And it was hilarious how Bobby Roode was just blaming James Storm still after that incident. And even though, it seems like James Storm is not on the side of Aces and Eights. That's the good thing about it. We don't know what side James Storm is on. I just hope they still don't turn him heel. But then this leads to the ending. Bully Ray goes and he taps James Storm. And James Storm, just out of anger, attacks Bully Ray. Just leads to Bobby Roode coming to the ring. And then Austin Aries attacking. And then Garrett Bishop and Devon. I think they were saying, fuck this. We're leaving. We got our TV time. And Kurt Angle doing his usual, I'm in the middle of controversy. Oh, I'm Kurt Angle. Look at me. Overall, TNA this week. What I did like was that we got some really solid matches for Hardcore Justice. And matches that do fit the name of the pay-per-view, Hardcore Justice. That's what I like about TNA. And I'm pretty excited for Hardcore Justice a little bit more. I think they're doing a lot better with the Bound for Glory series this year than last year. Not only in right people winning the matches, but also in, the type of feuds we're getting out of this Bound for Glory series. Like, what could happen, those type of feuds. I really do like this. So, overall, TNA this week, last week, I think, was a little bit better, even though there was Aces and Eights segments. I know Aces and Eights is kind of a mixed type of feeling of a faction, because most people like it, most people don't. Me, personally, I'm in the middle. I kind of like the concept of Aces and Eights, and the whole poker type of idea, and it keeps you guessing. I just don't like how they're, kind of similar to the Nexus a little bit. Well, actually, a lot. But, to be honest, it's just kind of mixed down the middle for me when it comes down to Aces and Eights. Whew. But, other than that, the overall impact this week, I say was pretty good. I think last week was a little bit better. I think last week we got a little bit more drama out of it, a little bit more excitement for the next week's show. This show, yeah, we have some excitement. There's some matches announced that we could probably get into, but last week there was just so much more excitement for, the next week. So this was an okay overall show. What do you guys thought about TNA this week? If you guys like video games, check out CL Live. Check out my classic pay-per-view review of WWE No Way Out 2007 that I uploaded yesterday. Definitely check that out so you can vote for your favorite pay-per-views. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Follow me on Twitter. This is ChaseOlver68, and I'll see you all later.